I didn't actually realize it at the time, but I was getting increasingly stressed out just working in an environment like that because, while I felt no fear or anything from the vigilantes, but getting in and out of the settlement and just being in Joburg in general.
Yeah.
I mean, people live there, but people leave there as well. And even though I'd been in a lot of dodgy places and I'd spent some time in the army and, I'd been used to being in environments where I was under a fair bit of pressure there over the course of, months. By the end of it, I was just getting more and more, I don't know, it sort of felt like a bit of the Wild West, sort of people were hard drinking, hard partying. I'm a bit of a hedonist anyway at times like that anyway. So I sort of got used to living on the edge and taking more and more risks, which started to freak me out. And anyway, by the time I left, I remember it wasn't until I walked through the security and was waiting at the gate to get the flight back home to Australia that I was like, shit, I think I've actually made it. I think I'm okay, and sort of breathed out for the first time in a long time. So I got back to Melbourne, and it was funny actually. My mate was picking me up, and he had a copy of the Herald Sun in the car, and I remember the headline that was sitting on the passenger seat, and it said, "Crime wave hits Melbourne." And I'm looking around, people are driving with their windows down. And it's this beautiful sunny day. And I'm like, fuck off, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right.
I decided after that I needed to move into a different area of research. I didn't want to go into any favelas or shantytowns anymore. And luckily for me, people who mates of mine had started buying drugs off this thing called Silk Road, which I'd never heard of before.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Before we move on to the dark web, the dark web drug dealing stuff, which I'm definitely keen to talk about. One question, just wrapping up that stuff of talking about the favelas and living on the edge and so forth. When you came back, was it a bit of a adrenaline dump? Did you feel like coming back? Because people talk about coming back from war zones. Are you familiar? If you're familiar with Chris Ryan, if you're familiar with Sebastian Younger.
Oh yeah. I've heard him interviewed on various podcasts as well.
Yeah, and he talks about in this book here, Tribe, this is one of my favourite books. We give it to all of our clients with my business. But he talks about people coming back from war zones and talking about, it was the happiest time of their life and they felt alive and they felt in the moment, Is that was it a bit of a transition when you did come back? Or?
Yeah, yes and no. I think one of the differences with Tribe is that I was doing a lot of this research by myself. I had some local research assistants, but it wasn't this kind of us all in
Communal.
It together kind of vibe. So I think it was a little bit different from that. But I definitely felt an adrenaline dump when I got back. And it took a little bit of time to integrate what had happened over there. And I don't want to overplay it. Like, as I said, people live there their whole lives,
for sure.
But it's definitely, a big contrast to a very safe place like Australia.
Interesting, man. I couldn't imagine the stuff you were saying. That's fascinating.